Welcome to the Viva Vegan Minisode with me, Faye.
And me, Erin.
So we're going to kick off today with a little story about Massive Attack.
Yeah, the festival that's just happened in Bristol a couple of weeks ago. It was one of the first vegan festivals.
It was, which is amazing because they wanted to look at how the music industry had a big environmental impact in terms of flights and what it did. So they were really good at kind of bringing attention to that and encouraging people to travel to their gig.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they encouraged people to walk, bike, take public transport, anything to really reduce their emissions, because the band actually released a report a few weeks ago that they commissioned that showed that one of the biggest emissions from festivals was actually from the transport of the guests.
And it was called Act 1.5?
Yeah, which is actually named after the Paris Climate Agreement goal of 1.5 degrees centigrade to try and reduce global warming.
Yeah, so well done Massive Attack, and obviously big shout out for being from Bristol as well.
Yeah, so one of the other things that Massive Attack did was they actually made sure that all of the food vendors there were vegan. So there was some Bristol favourites like Soy Ahoy and Cheeky Monkey.
Yeah, there were, and obviously they made sure that all the cups were recyclable and everything like that, so...
Yeah, it's just all the stuff that normally goes under the radar at these sort of festivals that may contribute to, environmental damage they try to avoid, which is great. We want to see more of that in the music scene.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, Massive Attack. So the next story has actually come to us from Mike the Vegan, who is excellent. We spoke to him at Vegan Camp Out. He's an absolute powerhouse when it comes to kind of scientific knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, brilliant YouTuber.
He's great. And he's talking now about a technology that could basically turn the world vegan, I think.
Yeah, he's been making a brilliant video lately on precision fermentation, which, in case you don't know, it's sort of process where you use something called microflora. It's the same sort of thing that yeast is when we're making bread and beer and stuff, but instead of making those conventional things like bread and beer, they're actually using it to develop and grow proteins and fats, which then you can 3D print to essentially just make meat. It's not even really artificial meat because it's the same components as meat, just it isn't coming from an animal. And although it sounds like this wonderful new technology that a lot of people haven't really heard of, it's actually something which we use a lot. So in cheeses, for example, they really use it to make rennet. And then it's also things like strawberry flavouring uses precision fermentation. So it's something that's been around for ages, to be honest.
It has, but it's great that it's being used in this way and redeveloped.
Yeah, it's taking something which we already know works, that we already use in our daily lives, and just using it to try and solve this new problem of how do we get something which people, commonly like to eat, but takes out the animal cruelty. But it's something which brands like Impossible Burger have already been using for quite a while. So, if you've tried that and you're a fan of it, then it's just a way to make that more accessible, and hopefully more people will start using it in future.
It's brilliant. If there's no animal cruelty involved, that's it. The taste is so similar.
If it removes the animal cruelty, then...
we're all for it.
Yeah, definitely.
The future is now. Okay, so our next story is how soya milk is far better for you than cow's milk in terms of cardiometabolic health.
Yeah, there's just been a recent study that took 19 instances of looking at soy milk compared to cow's milk in people's daily diets. Yeah, so they found important reductions in blood pressure, for example. So those who decided to switch to soy milk for a certain amount of time, they had a lower blood pressure overall. And then also there was a reduction in LDL cholesterol, which is the type that is considered bad cholesterol. It's the one that builds up in our arteries and can cause health issues and heart disease for us. But yeah, it was a great study that ultimately just shows that in all the milks, soy is one of the best that you can swap to from cow's milk.
And it's one of those perfect things when you're kind of coming up against people who don't understand the benefits. Once again, you can say, look, there's again more research has been published.
Yeah.
We'll post a link below as well so you can have a read of that. But yeah, once again, good news for vegans.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we want to talk about now is a really interesting feature that was in The Guardian, and it was something that had the whole Viva office talking, wasn't it? It was a feature titled, I Am Always Tired, Life in the Shadow of Factory Farming.
Yeah, it was a photo essay that was posted on The Guardian. It's quite similar to stories you may have heard in the UK about the River Wye and the pollution and the struggles that people have gone through living in proximity to that and the chicken farms. Whilst this article by The Guardian, it's going out to actually look at other instances of that across Europe. So as a photo essay, it's a really interesting collection of different images, sharing the stories of people who are suffering by living in close proximity to animal farms, mega farms in particular. People, for example, who live near pig farms, and the environmental pollution they're dealing with, them talking about how they can't drink the tap water in their homes anymore because of the nitrate levels, people who have to walk around their houses essentially wearing gas masks because of the fumes. It's really upsetting, to be honest, but something which I think is so important to talk about.
I mean, it needs to be brought to people's attention because this is kind of the way that we're heading, and across Europe, but also across the rest of the world. It's deeply upsetting, and in the last 2 decades, as you know, we've seen the rise of mega farms that have kind of aped the American model. And it's great, obviously we're going vegan, but at the same time we're fighting against this industry that's so big and so powerful that it's just kind of all encompassing. And in the UK we talk about it all the time, like the River Wye, like you mentioned. You can't just go for a swim anymore in the summer. There's a real risks of like E. coli in water, and the fact that we're just having chicken shit pumped into rivers. And this is okay, apparently. This is huge.
It's one of those things where people talk about veganism and animal farming, particularly pertaining to the animals themselves, which of course is such a core tenet within it. But then we need to extend it out to also see the other victims of it, which are these people that have to live in these conditions. These people, some of them don't have the finances to sell their homes. They can't move. They want to keep their homes. Why should they have to move? Because of this growing body of animal agriculture that is essentially taking people's homes from them, making their homes unsafe to live in. It's a basic human right that essentially, for the sake of the meat that we eat and the other animal products, that we're essentially causing demand for. These people are losing the places that they once called home.
Yeah, it's horrifying. It's a brilliant read because it opened our eyes, and you actually see the trail and the impact and how far-reaching it is. So we highly recommend that you have a read of that. It's beautifully done, and it's poignant, it's sad, it's really well shot. So well worth a read, and good work from The Guardian.
Well done to them. Yeah, so in other news, we've actually just finished our most recent Are You an Animal Lover tour. The final one was yesterday in Southampton Central. We also did Bournemouth this week, and then over the last few weeks we've done Leeds, Manchester, Nottingham, which has all been really, really fun. We've given out thousands of vegan hot dogs and I've had so many good reactions to them. Like grandmas in the street telling us that they're going to go out and buy them and that they're their new favourite sausages, which is such a good thing to hear. Obviously talking so much about animal rights as well, and also talking about how they can make that change to live cruelty-free lives where they aren't paying for animal slaughter, which has been such a nice time. I love doing tours. But then there's no break for us because right next week we're starting off with Freshers tours. So it will be fun, but we're going to 5 universities over the next few weeks, hopefully giving out many, many vegan Greggs sausage rolls, which always go down a hit.
Absolutely.
So that's going to be really fun. But yeah.
So Erin might be back with Freshers flu next time.
Hopefully not, but you never know. When you're seeing so many students every single day,
it's hard not to catch something. Well, I like it when we do outreach because I find a lot of the older people, like the older generations, are actually really receptive to the messaging.
Oh yeah.
I'm quite surprised by it because once you get to a certain age, you're like, oh, they've been stuck in their ways. This is how it's been. But when I've spoken to them, they've actually been quite okay. Yeah, I'll give that a go, and open-minded to things.
Yeah, I mean, so many people have been open to just trying new plant-based options. So many people just haven't had that opportunity. One of the most common things that we have on outreach is people just saying that they haven't had the confidence to go out and try things because, it's the same food that they've been eating for the last sort of 50, 60 years. And they want to try some new things, but they don't know. Everyone is a little bit tight on money. They don't want to go out and buy something which they might not like. But I think outreach like this, where we're giving people the opportunity to try it for free and they're realising they like it, it's a great opportunity to try that.
No, it's great. And you did legitimately get a lot of enthusiasm from people. It's funny because I was reading some of the comments that we get on YouTube, Everyone loves a comment, don't they?
Yeah.
And a few people were saying silly things like, oh, how much did you pay them, to say that? But it's just not the case, is it? People are genuinely enjoying the vegan products that we've got now.
It's authentic reactions. The foods that, vegans were probably eating 10, 15 years ago might have been a little bit dubious at best, but nowadays you can buy a packet of Richmond meat-free sausages for the exact same price as the pork-based ones, and they taste just as good, and that's ultimately the genuine reactions we've gotten from everyone.
Yeah, so to the haters, stick that in your bun and smoke it. I mean, joking aside, the free food is great, but can you tell us a little bit more about what you were kind of doing on the campaign?
Yeah, of course. So we've actually had like several different elements of this campaign on the street aside from the free food. One of them is we have this really poignant display that we've been putting in front of all of our outreach stalls where we have a replica dog. It's about the same size as a large white, a British sow, that we've actually put in a farrowing crate with puppies around her. It's a really powerful image, to be honest, and so many people have been curious about it. We've got some information next to it, or we're educating people on farrowing crates, which, I mean, if people don't know, for example, they're crates that, 60% of sows are kept in for 6 weeks, 1 week before they give birth to their litter, and then 5 weeks after. She isn't allowed to move. It restricts her movement for up to 5 weeks, and she can't access any of her piglets. So we've had that replica there to kind of educate people that this is where the majority of UK pork is coming from. These are the systems in which these pigs are kept in. We've also been showing footage, which has been really, really powerful. We've done a great giveaway sort of system where people can spend a couple of minutes watching a film that just summarises British agriculture. It shows everything from, unfortunate pig gassings to chick gassing, slaughter methods, anything along those lines. It just summarises it in a couple of minutes, and at the end of that they get to have a discussion with us, which has been really powerful. So many people have been moved by the footage. You'd be hard pushed to, when you look at sort of the pig gassing videos and footage, to have... It's a really difficult thing for people to watch and then say that they aren't moved by it, so, It's hard hitting, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's one of the more extreme kind of examples that we do show people. Yeah, definitely. I think it's, it's not particularly happy footage, and no one comes away, satisfied having watched it. But I think it's something which we need to watch, and it's good, especially if you're comfortable funding it, to put the cloth over your eyes is something which we can't really continue to do whilst these animals are suffering. Yeah, so aside from the outreach, Faye's been doing some really interesting podcast interviews lately. She went to Vegan Camp Out the other month. Faye, do you want to tell us about who you've been interviewing? Yeah, so they are all live now, so get on the YouTube channel, subscribe. We've hit over 15,000 followers, so get on there, share them far and wide. We've spoken to Dr. Michael Greger, who's amazing, as you know, How Not to Die. Anyone with a title like that's great. We spoke to Genesis Butler, who is 17 years old and an incredible activist, and is doing more than so many people. It's incredible what she's achieved already in 17 years. We spoke to Gaz Oakley, who is quite a dream, really, isn't he? Oh, I make so many Gaz Oakley recipes. He's honestly my cooking inspiration. I've been making his fire cider, which he showed on his Instagram the other day. So good. I can't wait to watch that interview. He's just a beautiful man. You could drown in his eyes while listening to him talk about his new garden and his recipes, and he's gone back to nature, and he's growing everything sustainably. Brilliant interview. Oh, Juliet did a great interview with Peter Egan, which is fabulous, talking a lot about what Viva's been up to. Who else did we speak? The one and only Chris Packham. He's brilliant. We spoke to him, talking about, just his kind of hopes for the future, from a conservationist kind of perspective and environmental. You spoke to the happy pair as well. Oh, I did, and they are happy. Very happy guys. They looked lovely, and they did such a nice set as well. It was really funny. Yeah, and they were at the Viva stall afterwards, meeting and greeting lots of their fans. So many, and I've probably forgotten people, in which case I'm really sorry. Yeah. But yeah, do check it out. It's in the link below, and enjoy. Yeah, but not to mention though, even though you might not have interviewed her at Vegan Camp Out, you have got another really exciting interview coming up with someone who was headlining Vegan Camp Out. I have, Kate Nash.
And I'm on the Viva Vegan podcast.
The one and only Kate Nash, who, she was a dream. What can I say? She's great. So that'll be the next season, which I don't know when that will be going live. End of the year, start of the year, something like that. So yeah, just keep your eyes
peeled. You can look out for it.
Yeah, we'll make a noise about it when it's due to come out. So yeah, she was great. So thank you, Kate Nash, as well.
Sounds good.
So that's it from us for this month, and we'll see you next month.
See ya.
Bye.